Hello, this is a video review of the YZ250 two-stroke and maybe why you should buy one. This is my 2018. She has probably about 15 hours on her right now. I have her decorated as a 1996 throwback, but she's definitely a 2018. A quick crash course on these. The motor was originally designed in 1999. There's been refinements throughout the years. The aluminum frame came into play in 2005. 2006 they went to SSS suspension and a bigger shock shaft down here. It was good, but still needed some refinement in my opinion. By 2011 they dialed in some more. They lowered the compression ratio a little bit to help cure the pinging. It wasn't really such a good thing if you don't really want to do any motor work to them, and you have a 2011 or newer and you want a little more horsepower. Just pick yourself up I believe it's 04 to 2010 cylinder head right here, and that'll bring your compression back up and you'll gain some crispness and a little bit of power. One major improvement in the newer ones was in 2015. They went to the more modern SSS forks, and that made a pretty good improvement on the front end. In 2017 they went to the larger front brake rotor, and that's also a pretty good thing, as well as new body work. Gave the bike a fresher look. It has like a new subframe now, and mainly the tail end's different, as well as the shrouds here. So I would say if you're on a budget, try to get a 2006 to 2014. If you have a little bit of money to spend, try to get a 15, 16. If you really want the best of the best, 17, 18, 19, or 2020. That's going to get you there. And then, you know, a couple little mods here and there, and you'll have what you want. My other bike is a 2015 YZ450. She's big, she's powerful, she's heavy. So why should you pick this over, let's say, the KTM 250SX or the Husky? What do they call it? The TC 250 or 250 TC or whatever? Well, I'll tell you my biggest reason. If any of you KTM fanboys can find me a 2017 set of cases for a 2017 250SX from KTM, if you can buy them brand new, let me know. I work on bikes for a living, and guy brought me a bike that the Kickstarter gear underneath the clutch cover broke off of the cases. We were unable to find a set of 17 cases anywhere. I mean, we checked everywhere. A local KTM dealer eventually told me, look, I think the way KTM sees it is if you need a set of cases, you probably need a whole new bike. And I was like, well, I bet you got a lot of new bikes on the showroom floor, don't you? But it's ridiculous. I mean, we're talking about a bike that's 2 years old, and you can't get a set of cases for it. That, to me, that's where they crossed the line. They also have a few other things I disagree with. And the shifting mechanism they use, like the claw and paw design or whatever that some of the Japanese bikes used back in the 80s. And they all went to the ratchet system throughout the 90s. Now they're all on a ratchet system. KTM still uses that outdated design. I don't know why. Haven't seen any failures with it, but Japan got away from it for a reason. They also use aluminum shift drum. Yes, it may be a little bit lighter, but they do wear out. And when they wear out, they'll pop out of gear and wear out the shift forks and the dogs on the gears. So, you know, those are the reasons that I kind of avoid the KTMs. Also, back order parts. All you have to do is go try to order some KTM parts. Most likely, you're going to run into one or two that are on back order. It's just how they are. They don't keep up with their parts very well, and that to me is, not a good thing for the company. So, as of right now, I kind of avoid the KTMs. Oh, and lastly, KTM still uses a steel frame. Well, some people say, well, I like the steel frame, it feels better, or whatever, it has more flex. Here's the thing with steel frames. They're not really meant to last very long. I remember when Ricky Carmichael first started racing for Suzuki, Roger DeCoster commented when he was on the RM250 and he moved to the RMZ450 that with the aluminum frame of the RMZ450, they can run a frame for a whole season, where the 252 stroke, the RM252 stroke steel frame, they would have to change it out every 2 races just because of flex, wear and tear in the frame. They just don't handle the same amount of abuse that aluminum can. All you have to do is measure when the bike's brand new from the pivot point of the swing arm right here, bolt, to the front axle, making sure the wheel's perfectly straight, and then ride the bike for about a year and measure it again. You'll notice that the measurement has expanded some. It's become greater. The distance has become greater. That's the frame. The frame actually starts just bending right here and raking out the front end through time. Aluminum frames don't suffer from this nearly as much as steel frames do. And the thing with the steel frames, it rusts from the inside out. So you can paint it till you're blue in the face, and it doesn't matter. They're going to get weaker through time. So another reason why I kind of avoid the KTMs. Look at the size of the muffler on this 4-stroke. Look at the size of this muffler on this 2-stroke. I was late to make the conversion over to the 4-stroke. I probably switched over, I believe, at the year 2011 or 2012. Before that, I was on 2-strokes. Been riding most of my life. I got used to the weight. Took a little while, but I got used to the extra weight of the 4-stroke and the engine braking that comes with them, and the typical 4-stroke stuff. I just recently bought this YZ250 2-stroke. I've been looking for one for a little while now. Man, it only took a half a day to get used to it. So much lighter. After a little bit of motor work, which I'll get to a little bit later in the video, it's equally as quick as all the modern day 4-strokes on the track. Sometimes even it seems like I edge on them down the long straights, maybe a good 5 inches or so. I don't know if it's the motor. It could just be, the lighter weight. It could be traction. I don't know, but she definitely doesn't get left behind. That's for certain. Stock, they are a little bit soft with the lower compression head, but there are ways to get the power up, and it's pretty easy, and it's pretty cheap. And I'll get to that in a few minutes. Suspension-wise, there's no doubt the modern day 450s come already sprung very well, especially the YZ450. It comes sprung really well, real good dampening front and rear. You can pretty much just set the sag, click here or there, and you're good to go. The 250 2-stroke and the 125 Yamaha 2-stroke, they do come undersprung. They come with very good suspension dampening front and rear, but the springs are just very light. The first thing you're going to want to do is change the springs if you pick one of these up. On the rear spring, I weigh 152 pounds. On the rear spring, I went to a titanium spring. I pulled this off of a 2008 YZ250F. It's at the rate 5.3 kg. On the front, I went to 0.47 kg. It's a good balance. Feels great. It's not too stiff, not too soft. It feels very similar to how this 15 feels in stock trim as far as the overall balance and stiffness. So it worked out really well. Stock, it comes with a 4.9 on the rear. It's just way too soft. As soon as you get in the power, the back end dips. Doesn't handle hard hits very well. So you definitely, if you're going to take it serious, you need to spring it. And by the way, save the money on the revalve. Don't let someone go in there and revalve your bike up. These bikes come with great valving stock. Just spring it for your weight, set the clickers, the sag, the fork heights. I'll provide all my suspension settings in the description of the video if you're interested. I've also found the 50-tooth rear sprocket is great. I usually judge the gearing on a bike by how third gear feels, and third gear is right on with the stock gearing. So you want a little more power, you want to keep up the 450s, but at the same time you don't want to dish a whole lot of money on them. First off, I would say avoid paying someone to port and polish a cylinder. That was something that we needed in the 80s and the 90s, but as the 2000s came in, the factories had it right. The port heights were good, the finish was good. Unless you're looking to dramatically change the torque curve and the power curve of the bike, don't touch the cylinder. If you just want more power, you like the curve, but you just want more power, it's all in the head. They usually try to set the heads up so people can run low grade feel and get away with it without blowing up the motor. The reason the modern day KTMs make about 2 to 3 more horsepower than what these do is because they do actually set the head up pretty close to right in stock form, and that's the only thing different. Once you get these heads set up, man, man, they're powerful. You don't want to send it to some of the tuners that just mill it and raise your compression ratio. That's the wrong route to go. You want to keep it close to what the compression ratio was on the 2006 model YZ250. So, you want to make sure that the tuner is going to CC the head to get the volume of the chamber, and then they'll mill it down to get the squish band. This is the squish band right here, this part going around here. They mill it down so that when the piston is in top dead center, the gap between the squish band and the top of the piston, you want that somewhere between 40 to 50 thousandths for weekend warrior setup. You can go as tight as 30 thousandths on a 252 stroke. It does come with higher maintenance when you get it that tight, but you're talking at about like pro race level performance at that point. So keep between 40 and 50 thousandths and you're good. And then what they'll do is they open the dome back up. Like this head's already been done. The squish band's tighter and the dome's opened up. So you can see it's a bigger dome here versus this one. And that way they get the compression ratio back close to stock. So the best thing you can do is buy a 06 head, send it to someone like RB. If you Google RB heads, you'll find him. I do know that he does do good work. And send them to your 06 head. Let them know you want the stock compression ratio. You just want to get the squish band down to about 40 to 50 thousandths. And throw in a splash of race feel, at least 40% race feel to 60% pump. A little bit of mild jetting. They usually like to go a little bit leaner on the main jet after this mod. I'm currently running a 175. I'm running a 52 on the Pilot. The needle is, I'm running an 06 needle in the stock position, which is the second clip from the top. That's spot on for me right here in Florida at sea level. After doing only the head mod, you'll notice a increase in power throughout your whole torque curve, a crease in mid-range, and especially top end. You're going to feel a lot more come up top. It feels like it gains about 2 to 3 horsepower across the board, which is really good. It feels much quicker, and it puts it right in line side by side with the modern day 450s. Now granted, they do make close to 60 horsepower or whatever, but they're chugging around a lot of extra weight, where this thing's just light on its toes. It doesn't take a whole lot to get it going. Get it up to about 50 horsepower and they just move along. Another thing that's always good to do if you're really a fast rider or hard on the gas is get a shorty silencer. After you do the head mod, the motor's going to be breathing fire. It's going to be making a lot more power, and a shorty silencer helps promote getting the heat out, and it's less likely to ping. You can get away with the longer stock silencers, but you're going to have to run a little more octane or slightly richer jetting. Put a shorty on, it keeps the heat down in the combustion chambers, and you can get away with a little bit lower octane and leaner jetting. The stock silencer has this, what they call back pressure ring right here. You can see the hole's bigger in here. Now, right here at the exit, they put this ring, a back pressure ring. That does aid when it first starts to climb into the power band on a stock motor, but as soon as you modify them, that's got to go. And that's one of the main reasons you want to get rid of the silencer. So even if you don't go with the shorty, at least just go with the good FMF or Pro Circuit where it does not have that back pressure ring, so you can get the heat out and you can do some mods to the bike without it needing excessive amounts of octane or fuel. You can see I have a Pro Circuit pipe up there hanging for my YZ250. I've tried it out. It definitely makes a lot of top end, but I still prefer the stock pipe. The stock pipe has a good power curve from the bottom all the way up to the top. Doesn't quite produce as much top end as the Pro Circuit, but the Pro Circuit, that was a trade-off for bottom and mid, and I wasn't looking forward to that trade-off. Later on I'll try FF race pipe probably. I hear them are pretty good, but for right now the stocker is good for me. I didn't know what to expect when I first went back to a 252 stroke. I didn't know if I was going to be quicker or slower. I think I run about the same speed. I go up against the same people at the track that I normally battle with, and the battles turn out to be about the same. But there's a difference. The difference is I stay more focused in the charge when I'm on the two-stroke. With the less engine braking, you're more likely to just carry more speed into the corners. With it being lighter, you're more likely to take bigger risk of going in a corner hotter, knowing you can just drop that thing down in a corner and do what you got to do. Um, and the sound is very motivating. The sound they make, let's face it, these four strokes, I mean, they don't sound much different than a John Deere lawnmower, really. I mean, or a tractor. I mean, it's a four stroke. There's nothing exotic about the sound, but these things, they motivate you with the sound. The snappiness keeps you alert. I would say if you definitely have been stuck in a rut and you're riding, I'm 43 years old, vet rider. If you get stuck in the rut and are trying to find extra speed or more motivation to go faster, try out a two-stroke for a little while. It'll definitely wake you up and get you back on your toes, and you'll be back to charging before you know it. And a lot of people say that these are easier to work on. They most certainly are. Even just like I was mentioning the head mod, I mean, all it takes is 6 12mm nuts here and some hoses and a spark plug, and you can have that head off and send it into RB or another replicable tuner, and they'll take care of you. Now on these four strokes, it's a whole different story. I mean, you definitely have to be an inclined mechanic to at least put it back together. You might be able to take it apart, but to get it put it back together, you definitely need to know what you're doing. They're definitely more complicated, and geez, are they just so much heavier. To pick this bike up and put it on this stand for this video, I haven't touched this bike in probably a month, and I was like, wow, this thing's got some weight on it. Where this thing feels like somewhere in the middle of a 125 and a 450. It's pretty much right there in the weight. It actually feels lighter than 250Fs, and that's pretty surprising. I have a Husky 250F right there, and that thing's got some weight to it. Oh, and I definitely don't want to leave this out for you guys that run them hard. Before I even rode this bike one time, I pulled out the stock piston and put a YZ250 piston in there. I used to run these back in the days. Back in 06, I had 2 of these, and the stock pistons crack. It's just what they do. You buy another OEM piston, and it'll crack on you eventually. It's not fun. So I went to YZ250, and it never cracked again. I was able to just run the bike hard. I've learned when it comes to two strokes throughout the years, just get rid of the cast stock pistons, go with the forged YZ250. It's better, it's more reliable, it is a race piston. So, do I hate the 4-stroke? No, I don't. But it, gotta admit, it feels like a DRZ 400 on the track. Very well suspended, very good motor, but you pay for it with the weight, and I don't know, it doesn't feel like a slice and dicer. It feels more like a high-speed runner. They're good. I'm enjoying the two-stroke. Just lightweight. I feel more involved. I feel more connected. It has more of an organic feel to it. It's fun from the minute you fire it up in the pits all the way around the track, and it's rewarding. When you make that pass on a 4-stroke, there's just something about that. It's very rewarding. Japan, if you're listening, Zuki especially, your sales are a little slump right now. Bring back the RM250 2-stroke. I bet you they will sell, because from what I'm hearing, every YZ250 made right now is sold fast. Kawasaki, I would love for you to bring back the KX250. Honda, I don't really miss that one too much. But if they brought it back, hey, that would be awesome. I don't think Honda will. They love their 4-strokes. And let's also not forget the YZ125 if you're in that market. Definitely a great bike. Just like the YZ250, it's just, a little bit down on horsepower compared to the KTM or Husky, but it's all in the head. Just have the head rechambered, and rejet the bike, throw in a splash of race fuel, you'll be right there with the rest of them. Light bike, quick bike, very well suspended. Probably better suspension than the YZ250. On this one, we resprung it just by using the stock springs from my YZ250. My 2018 stock springs, I put them on this 2019 YZ125, and it is perfect. So there you have it. If you're looking to have some fun in the dirt again, it's getting a little bit boring out there with these 4-strokes. You only live life once. You want some adrenaline pumping. You want to hone your skills, even become faster. Definitely consider a 2-stroke. If you are very KTM loyal, hey, there's nothing wrong with that too. If you can deal with the issues they have, whatever it takes. Let's get these two-strokes out here. Two-strokes are the future. They're going to make a comeback. Thanks, guys. Check out the description down below. I'll be posting a link to a petition to bring back the RM250. It's more of a joke, but hey, maybe they might get the message. I also put my suspension settings below. It's a great place to start if you're looking to set this bike up. I would start with these settings no matter what springs you're currently using, and just a click here or there should dial it in. Thanks, guys, for watching the video, and I look forward to your comments. Catch you later.